So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 7th, 2016 meeting of the Merrimack Conservation Commission. It's now 6:36 p.m. Just want to remind folks that we do have an open alternate and full-time position on the Conservation Commission. If anyone's interested, you're more than welcome to join us and have some fun. Just contact Becky Thompson in the Town Manager's office. The other announcements is tomorrow is the school district deliberative session, and Thursday is the town's deliberative session. So all you voters, please get out and participate. So that's all I have. Anyone else have any announcements? I see we're a full crew tonight. That's good. All right, then. So that takes us to public comment. Don't see anyone from the public, so we'll move right on to appointments. So our first item on our agenda is a public hearing. This is a public hearing in accordance with RSA 36-A. The Conservation Commission is going to hold a public hearing to discuss a potential land donation of tax map parcel 6B159. The parcel is located near Brookside Drive, Clara Drive, and Bean Road. Actually, Jake's Lane as well. So, and Babusick Brook runs right through it. I have a short PowerPoint presentation on this. And the mouse is not working tonight, so I know you're open. You just have to show me where you went. This happened at the town council meeting too, didn't it?
The mouse didn't work?
No, it's open, it's just it's not very big. Oh, there it is.
It might be because of the resolution setting of the projector.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's what's disturbed it. So is it? Oh, it's on the other screen. One more time.
Tim, if you go back.
Yeah?
Go to slideshow up top.
Okay. That'll probably work. Right? Boom. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to help you for a minute there.
Yeah.
In trouble.
Well,
Is the lights on or off? Do we need it? Do we need it or no?
I'm not sure. I don't know if we're trying to catch this on the camera or not.
We can't see it.
So,
I can see it on the camera just fine.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
The man behind the curtain.
Okay, so like I hinted, by RSA 36-A, before we can purchase or receive a land, actually this section says that we have the ability to acquire land in the name of the Conservation Commission in the town. And
I'm sorry. Was that part of it colored for?
yeah, that's the part I was trying to highlight. So what I've been doing is reusing slides, so that probably goes back about 3 or 4 land donations or purchases ago. But
I just
so
wasn't sure if I was missing something.
yeah,
All right.
so.
Sorry.
So we need to hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing today. This was properly noticed more than 10 days ago. It appeared in the Union Leader newspaper and other places around town. That is a copy of the notice that was put in, which I think you've all seen a copy of. So a few quick things. It's tax map parcel 6B159. It's approximately 5 1/4 acres. Title search was done by our attorney, and the title is clean. It's a landlocked parcel, and I got a picture of that coming up shortly. But we do have access to it off of Clara Drive, piece of open space land that the town has purview over.
And that is one of the areas that we've had active beaver.
Yeah.
So. One of the areas we've had active beaver.
Yeah. All right, so the parcel is being donated by a brother and sister who enjoyed the property while growing up here in Merrimack. Came to them through their parents. At one point, they even had a makeshift camp out there and enjoyed their summers out there on the parcel. We plan to utilize our Conservation Fund 53 to cover recording fees, town attorney fees, current and back taxes, and any other related costs. Total expenditure is expected to be below $2,000, probably far below that. Back taxes and current taxes is somewhere in the $200 to $300 range. Attorney fees, there's been a few hours because we wanted to make sure we did a title search. At one point, the title alluded to the idea that there was access to Bean Road from the parcel because it is landlocked, but went back as far as you could online through the Hillsborough County Register of Deeds and couldn't find the exact origination of that. We would have had to have sent someone to the Hillsborough to go through the books, which is early 1900s, to find it. And I decided that was not worth the expense because we actually have great access from a parcel that's right next to us. So if we ever need to, we can get to it. So the town assessment of the property through the assessor's office is for tax purposes, I should clarify that, is $18,400. The property is being donated as is for conservation purposes. It's going to have a deed restricted, conservation restricted deed similar to what we've done on many parcels over the last 5 years, and almost identical to what we did most recently with the conservancy properties that we picked up. So the donation is contingent on a public hearing, which is what we're doing right now, and approval of the town council. And if you need more information, get it from the donation agreement, which is certainly a public document. So quickly, the parcel is as soon as my mouse is right here. It doesn't show up as well on here, but basically it's a landlocked parcel with Babusick Brook running right through it. This is Jake's Lane here. This is Babusick Brook here. And in the next picture, you'll get a chance to see all our other related parcels. This is the open space parcel from Clara Drive, which takes you right to our parcel. So it's pretty good access. This will remain open space by deed forever. But it does allow the town to put trails and stuff on it. And I suspect the neighborhood has already put a few trails out there. So,
It's pretty wet spots.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. So why is this important? It expands the town's protection of Babusick Brook. It enables us to do further water control activities and other things that are being impacted by wildlife, and it helps us to reduce the invasive species that are prevalent along this portion of Babusick Brook, which have had impacts in other places. So in this picture, you'll see a bunch of green parcels. These are either conservation parcels or open space parcels, so it's quite a bit of connectivity through here, through Babusick Brook. This actually is Babusick Brook coming this way, and Mitchell Woods comes in from the other direction, I think, or maybe, yeah. So I have a better picture on the computer. It doesn't show up well here, so.
Just so everyone, does everyone understand what this is? Because if you remember, we had that extra well that we were trying to, we had proposed. Kyle, you probably involved it. The extra well that they were looking to
No,
drill.
I don't think Kyle was part of it.
No.
That's over here.
No,
No?
the bridge project's on that.
Yes, the bridge project is, yes.
If you go, this is our access and the.
Oh, there you go, right. Yep, you're right. Yep.
And if you walk out here, that wellhead's right here. This is Madison, where we've had a lot of problem with the.
Cindy, can you turn on your mic?
So
Cindy, can you turn on your mic?
we have a. Yeah, sorry. So we have a water control device out here right now, right around here somewhere. That's already in a very heavily populated area for beaver. That's when we did our trapping. Sorry.
Yeah.
Initially, that's exactly where the larger animals were
Yeah.
taken from.
Yeah. So that shows Mitchell Woods as well as Watkins Forest. So there's also some interest with other property owners out there to maybe do something for conservation purposes down the road. So this is just fitting into other pieces in that area. So
And also along that line, that's the one location that we have pictures of bobcat
yeah,
in town.
yeah.
So
Yeah, lots of pictures of bobcat.
Yeah.
So. All right, so in closing, we believe this is an appropriate use of our funds and that the town has given us to manage, and we're certainly grateful for the brother and sister who helped put this all together for the commission. So, any questions? All right, so I'm planning on doing a very similar presentation for the town council, almost verbatim, actually. So, unless you think there's something else I should include. So, I was thinking maybe I should bring up Merrimack GIS and do something a little more live instead of having those pictures, but I'm not sure that detail is required. So,
No, but I think the information that Gage just shared would be helpful,
yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean,
Talk about the
we're
work they've
actively
been doing.
managing
Mm-hmm.
out in that area,
So,
which is a nice,
Yeah.
interesting, because that's part of where the trustees of the trust fund, or is that, what was it called?
Yeah.
The
trustees of the trust.
trustees of the trust fund. That's the parcel that hasn't been logged in quite a while. I mean, there's a lot of, if you look at a satellite view, there's a lot of what looks like trails in there, and they're just the old logging roads. And there is quite a bit of trail in. That's the place that Matt and I walked. It's if you go walk, check yourself well. There's a lot of ticks, but it's an interesting spot.
Yeah, so just so you all know, I got an email from our forester who said that the trustees had asked him to do a proposal to do forestry work on Watkins Forest.
Good.
So they're looking to do a project. He wanted to talk to me or us about whether or not there's anything we wanted to do on our portion of the property. That way you get the economy of scale and all that. And the other thing to note is the MVD is thinking of putting a well out there, so that will certainly have an impact to things as well. So,
just make sure our butters are notified.
oh yeah,
That's the big thing,
Yeah.
and well in advance,
Yeah.
so that if anybody has any comments or concerns, that they have an opportunity to share them.
yeah. Well, we would certainly be doing a lot of work here before we went forward with it. So,
Is the only access into Watkins from that Mitchell?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Today there is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. So, on the north side of Watkins Forest is a piece of common land owned by one of the neighborhoods up there that has that you could get through. People have gone through there, but all right. So that takes care of that. I believe you all have a copy of the donation agreement, so you know what we went through and did. So at this point, I'm open to a motion.
Motion to accept the donation as presented.
Yep. And to cover all fees
To
as
cover all
outlined.
fees and out of Fund 53 as
Excellent.
presented.
So, moved by Gage, seconded by Cindy. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, that passes 7-0-0. So we are on the agenda for March 24th to the Town Council. So at that point, we'll do this again. So, all right. Anything else on this agenda item? Then we'll move on to statutory advisory business with our wetlands dredge and fill permit. Kyle Fox, town engineer, is here to join us. Do you want me to bring anything up? Because I do have all the info. I don't know if it matters.
I don't think we need it. If you want to, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
So do you want-
Good evening. As Tim said, I'm Kyle Fox, the town engineer for Merrimack. I'm here tonight to discuss a wetland application that we've submitted to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for doing some work in Natticook Lake to do some upgrades to the Natticook Lake boat ramp. The boat ramp itself is located in Veterans Park. It's kind of in the back corner. If anyone hasn't been there, it's for many years it was just a gravel road down to the lake. A few years ago, to help control erosion, Public Works put some small riprap stone there to try and stem the tide of some of the erosion that was going down there. It's a fairly steep slope, about 10%. So That was somewhat effective, although it made it certainly difficult for smaller cars to navigate down there. The rocks, being about that big, are pretty tough on little vehicles. So we were asked to come up with some ideas to improve the boat ramp, and we've come up with a plan to do just that. And what the plan consists of is taking out the riprap stone that's there in the water and somewhat out of the water. We're planning to put precast concrete slabs that link together. That gives it some movement as the ground shifts. And then above there, out of the water, we're going to pave the rest of the slope. The impervious area will actually be lessened because the hard-packed gravel that's there, which is nearly impervious, is about 20 feet wide. The paved area is going to be 10 feet wide, and that remaining area that's left, we're going to loam and seed and try and create some sort of a swale to treat the stormwater as best we can coming off of the road, to try and protect the lake as best we can. Our goals in the project was to control the erosion on a more permanent basis, certainly keeping the eroded soils out of the lake is good for the lake, reduces phosphorus levels. Another goal was to improve access. This project will definitely improve access and make it a more viable boat ramp. The project itself, as far as wetland impacts, it's less than 300 square feet of impact to the lake. We're just working in the area that's already established as the boat ramp, and the impacts are limited to the work in the water, from normal high water to the limits of the work inside there. For erosion control, to protect the lake during the work, we've specified that the contractor will have to put a silt curtain. That's one of those. It's a big, heavy-duty plastic curtain. It has a kind of a buoy noodle thing in the top to help it float, chains on the bottom that go down to the bottom. So any siltation that they create with their equipment to do the work will be trapped in that limited, small area. The work should only take a few weeks, I would guess, once we get a contractor in there. Assuming DES approves the permit, we'll go out to bid right after we get approval and hopefully get the work done this year. So I will certainly entertain any questions any of you might have on the project.
The interlocking concrete, that's a existing plan use for that type of precast?
Yes.
It's not, okay, so we're not experimenting with anything?
No, this is a technology that's been used on boat ramps extensively.
Okay.
Yeah, Adam and I had conversations about doing this a couple of years ago and trying to figure out how to get it done and expense, money-wise and stuff like that. So it's been something that's been being kicked around for a while. A lot of the folks who use it on a regular basis, I think, have been speaking to Public Works and other people over the years. So,
Indeed, yeah.
But if I don't know how familiar any of you are with using the boat ramp, but I certainly used it extensively when my kids were growing up and taking them out into the lake. It's the primary access point for emergency access to the lake. But there's been so much stuff that has washed down into the lake. It's literally a whole channel of sand and stuff that's gone out into the middle of the lake in order to create it. And on both sides of it, it's much deeper now. Those little deep spots are great for fishing off the side of the boat ramp because the young ones, the 5 and 6 year olds, can just go out just a little bit, and there's all kinds of sunfish and everything else to grab. So that kind of works out well. It creates this little hiding spot for them. But beyond that, it's just been terrible, all the material that's gone into the lake there. So
Indeed.
and every time it goes in, it makes the slope steeper and steeper and steeper.
So there's not going to be any work to remove anything that's in the water now, really? Anything that's washed in previously?
We'll be removing the material that the new stuff will take place of.
Right, but you're not trying to go out into the lake to remove anything that's been
we're not
washed in there?
overly dredging the lake.
Right.
We're trying to replicate what's there and do as minimum impact as we can.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
Does this interlocking concrete, does that have a name? Is there like a? I just want to search it and see what it looks like.
The typical section that I have in the permit, if you Google boat ramp from American Concrete Industries,
Oh, okay.
that was typical. Fish and Game also has some typical plans of stuff they use. We'll obviously specify a non-proprietary product. A number of companies make these.
But that's one example. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks. So it's geotextile blanket.
Yeah, so basically what there'll be underneath there is we'll excavate about 18 inches, put in some geotextile fabric to keep the natural soils below. We're going to put in our good 3/4 inch clean stone, and that's what the concrete slabs sit in, is the 3/4 stone. And
So
then
they
there's
move.
some heavier stone at the bottom of it to keep the panels from sliding further into the lake. It's like a big heavy weight at the bottom of it.
Okay. Interesting.
That's just it. The panels themselves aren't anchored at the top.
They're not.
Gravity.
Yeah.
I suppose at this speed, low speed activity, there's not going to be a lot of vibration or anything on them, so they're not going to mitigate. They're not going to migrate at all.
So when we talked about this, there was concern whether how far you'd be able to take the asphalt. Do you have any idea on how that's going to work out? And what I'm referring to, everyone, is coming up from the lake, it rises, and then it picks up the road that goes this way, kind of like a T. But the road to the north, I guess, is kind of steep up this way, and to the south, it's not as steep, but it does come up. So it's kind of a low spot right where the ramp is, and then that is low down to the lake. And if you don't asphalt up far enough, you'll end up just carrying material on a rainstorm all the way down and out, like what's happening now. So
Right. And the answer to that question will largely depend on what we get for bid prices. We're hoping to pave Brundage Way up to the crest of both sides of the boat ramp. And ideally what we'd like to do is reshape the road pointing away from the lake so the runoff goes to the other side, and maybe put some leaching basins in on that side to take care of the try and infiltrate as much of the storm runoff as we can. But whether that happens as part of this initial project or has to happen later will depend on the bid prices. The town has about $30,000 for the project, so we'll see what the bid prices come in at.
It's become a big project.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I bring this up because as stewards of the water resources, and we are a property owner on the lake, you might say. The town has a considerable portion, including Blueberry Island out in the middle of the lake, that if it gets close, then maybe we should consider helping this cause. Just want to throw that out there. Would you be open for Kyle to come back and raise that possibility?
If they went over budget to improve the road, is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
I mean,
I am.
yeah,
I'm interested in doing it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not committing you to anything.
yeah,
Just curious if you.
I'm interested in doing that because I want it done right. But I want to get away from the fact of just being an extra funding source.
Mhm.
Just when someone thinks, oh, we're going over budget, we can just go. And I'm obviously not saying that you're doing that. I'm
Sure.
just, but because we brought it up. But I just want to
Mhm.
be careful of being a auxiliary funding source.
Understood. So, all right. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Great.
So, yeah, my biggest concern was to make sure that you manage the water that comes down that roadway, because I've been out there when it's stormed pretty good, and the water does get moving pretty well. So,
That's steep.
yeah. So I'm almost wondering whether loam and seed is really going to hold back the water that doesn't go down the pavement. But I was almost kind of wondering if it just needs to be a series of riprap or something else that captures the water to slow down the velocity.
Once we get it established, it should hold just fine.
Yeah.
And when the contractor's doing the work, we'll have them put out the coconut matting which really
Oh.
helps to stabilize the area
Yeah.
and promote the growth.
Okay.
So,
So the other thing that often happens is folks will drop their boat, they'll go 2/3 of the way up, and then they'll veer off to the left or the right, well, actually mostly to the left when they're coming out of the lake, because that's where
Right.
all the parking is. So we might have to be creative on how we get people to stay on the asphalt with their trailers and everything, and then go to the parking area. So,
Some nice metal stakes usually.
yeah.
if it's an issue, we can always put delineators in to
Yeah.
try and persuade. Hate to put too much there.
Right.
Right.
There's not everybody's super experienced backing up a trailer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right.
So, like to give them some leeway. But
Yeah, just to be aware, you might want to discourage people just coming off the road early.
I think just having the grass instead of the 20-foot wide gravel
Yeah,
will help to control some of that. But if we see the tire tracks, we can certainly put some persuasion in.
okay.
Because I've gone down there and seen cars, the trailers up on both sides, up in between the trees and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And they really, creative parking. I'll give them
Yeah.
impressive that they can get their car and trailer into these little spots. But
It's a long walk from the parking lot.
yeah, I know.
Yes, indeed. So, all right. Those are all the comments I have. Now, because this is a dredge and fill, we have the opportunity to provide DES. Any comments or no comments? Recommendations? Is there anything you'd like to advance to DES?
Other than the fact of what Kyle's we spoke about already, is the fact that right now we are washing a lot of sands and silts into the lake right now, and this is going to be a huge reduction in that.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's a very worthwhile project.
So, would you like me to craft that in an email or a letter to DES? Let them know that we support this because of the
Yeah,
reduction
I
in.
think that'd be part.
And that we support the plan?
Yeah.
I did receive a letter today from DES. They've accepted the application, so the time clock for review has started.
Okay.
I assume they're going to look at this as a minimum impact project, not expedited, but just regular minimum impact, which is a 75-day review period for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we're still within our 14 days of review,
Yep.
so we don't have to ask for an extension or anything like that. Or I didn't ask for an extension, so. I was kind of fortunate. I walked in the office, and Kyle tells me, "Hey, I just brought it upstairs."
That was good timing.
So, and in fact, I brought it up to him because earlier in the day I was out staring at my fishing boat saying, I need to get that boat in the water. So, all right. So I'll move forward to DES. I'll let them know that we support the project and that we certainly support the fact that material won't be going in the lake as it has been. So, all right. Good. Thank you for your
I
time.
appreciate your time. Thank you.
See you later.
See ya.
You're not gonna stay?
Actually looks pretty cool.
All right. So that takes us to the next item on our agenda, and that is the target shooting
So
ordinance.
it's kind of held up. It's interesting to have it buffered for a while. So,
All right. So our target shooting ordinance, as you hopefully got a chance, I tried to put a summary together and forward it to all of you about where we're at, what's been going on, kind of a repeat of the history.
Thank you.
yeah, that was very
Thanks.
Okay, it was also helpful for me, too, to just get my thoughts all organized, because all this paper here is all part of that ordinance. So, ooh,
I left it in the car.
what's that?
I left my copy in the car.
Okay, all right. So essentially, we worked on an ordinance late last year. We got input from town's attorneys. We had a draft. We decided to move forward with it. We I sent it to both the town council and school board, looking for comments, letting them know that we wanted to bring it up as an agenda item to them. At the same time, the attorney did have some apprehension to doing this, stated that state law, RSA 159.26, doesn't let the town pass or enforce target shooting ban even on town-owned property. In fact, that RSA, which I provided all of you a copy of, speaks to the regulation of firearms. But then she went on to say that, the town is also owner of the land, and as an owner of the land, you're able to post your property and regulate what happens on your property of your own parcels, and so the town could take the stance that as a property owner, they have certain rights. Digging a little bit deeper, I made the connection to how she has moved forward with that kind of a decision. 159.26 calls out 207.59, and 207.59 says nothing in this section shall be construed as affecting a political subdivision's property rights concerning land owned and controlled by that entity. So there is certainly an avenue there. It's not as clear-cut as most people would like to have it. Also, in the process, we learned about the gun-free school zone. So that's a federal law that says you can't discharge a firearm within 1,000 feet of a school property. Digging a little bit deeper, it turns out it's property that has school improvements on it, whether that's a building, fields, stuff like that. Go ahead.
So along that same lines, the comment is that it can't just be an undeveloped piece of property, or is it a not used piece of property?
Well, it's not as clear. So to take the conservative route, it can't be an undeveloped piece of property.
Okay, so we'd still be covered if the school's just not in session.
Correct.
Okay.
And the way I take that is that the federal law wouldn't apply to an undeveloped piece of property. However, the school district, being the owner of the property, could post the property should they decide to do so, the same way that the town can do that as well.
Right.
It's just that the federal law wouldn't apply to it. And the school district has a couple of pieces of property that are undeveloped, but not a lot.
Right. So I've read opinions about this law and the types of properties. It seems to be clear in a few places that private property within the 1,000-foot range is not covered by this, because as a private property owner, you still have rights on your own property. But for us, especially out around the middle school, 1,000 feet off the edge of that property line goes deep into Greater Woods.
Right.
Deep into Greater Woods. Probably could potentially go out as close to South Greater Road. So that's quite interesting. There's quite a range there. In fact, at some point, we might want to have a little GIS map made and show that 1,000-foot boundary all the way around it. It certainly covers up the area near the school, near the outdoor education center, and across the meadow. Certainly across the meadow, all the way down to Old Blood Road is certainly all covered. So
And this is the school property boundary, not the school itself.
that's the way she interpreted it.
That's the way I read it too. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because it'd be too hard to catch it off the corner of a building or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So, and then you've got soccer fields and you've got baseball
Right.
fields and everything else. So, and then if you really want to get into it, you also have cross-country trails and tracks and all that too. So,
Because they do use the Gateway Trail.
Yes, they do.
so, but once they leave school district property, then they have to be within that 1,000 feet. So the other thing that if we wanted to do something more immediate, and that's kind of what I was talking with her about. I said, we want to do something more immediate. She said, well, on the Conservation Commission-owned properties, a lot of your deeds restrict what can happen on them. They say you can't damage the trees, you can't do lots of things. She feels that because of the way some of the shooting has been going on, you could claim that they're damaging our property, and we have property rights because they're damaging the property.
Definitely.
And I've got pictures of it. A number of us have gone out. We've seen it. The trees have been mowed down with so many shot going into them. So that's a way we can help stop this as property owners. She felt pretty confident. One, no one's ever challenged a conservation property that's had a no target shooting thing on it, but also because of that damage to the property, she felt pretty confident that she could prosecute that if she needed to. And then we went on and talked about signage and how to properly post. I gave you all a copy of the RSA, which speaks to the 2-inch letters and how to properly post. So she was pretty confident that we could move forward with our own signs at this point that could say no target shooting, put it on conservation-owned parcels for right now. Do it properly as the RSA states, which has to give our name and address so people can find out who we are, which is pretty straightforward. It's this building, so. And we can use those signs as, if you were doing that, then you are not only littering, but you should be told to leave for trespass because you're doing something that you're not permitted to do. And that's what trespass is all about, doing something you're not permitted to do, which could include not even being on the parcel. In our case, it's just the action we want to stop. People want to go out and have a picnic, that's great. So, or hike the trails or whatever else. So,
Or hunt.
or hunt, absolutely, because we're not excluding hunting. So what I thought we would do then is then move forward with trying to create some signs and start posting our property in accordance with RSA 6, whatever number that is in here. Get them made to the right way. Start putting them up there. Let the folks here in town, staff, police know that we've posted our property in this manner and that we expect it to be enforced if they need to.
So is the copy of the ordinance you gave us pretty much how you are expecting to go forward?
Well, that's the other part. So on top of that, we've got an update to the ordinance, which speaks to the gun-free school zone. The thought is that maybe we want to start out by including just the Conservation Commission properties. Let the school manage its parcels based on the gun-free school zone and post their own properties, and then dig deeper into the town-owned parcels that aren't conservation-owned. And that would include Horse Hill and a few other places. So, yeah.
Are we going to have a conversation with the school? I think we should have a conversation explaining all of this and how we arrived at it. And
yeah. So I want to dig a little bit deeper before we do that.
Okay.
Because I think we're now at the point where it would be good to get the attorney, Eileen, Chief Doyle, and any other interested parties in a room and have a discussion so everyone hears the same thing.
Okay.
And see if we can move forward with something that the chief is comfortable with and that the town's comfortable with. So.
Yeah, because Horse Hill and what was the other property that you named?
So, Horse Hill, Wildcat Falls, Riverside Drive, Mitchell Woods, a number of those.
Gilmore.
No, Gilmore has deed restrictions to firearms use, so those trump it all too. So, sorry, just to diverge, when we accepted a property with a deed restriction, we have to enforce that deed restriction no matter what, because that came from a private property owner before it became ours, and that lives with the property in perpetuity. So, therefore, we can post those and enforce those as well.
Okay.
So it's just the ones that don't have the deed restrictions that are town-owned.
But they should be treated the same way as Greater Woods, in my opinion. We should figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, I think we should all be comfortable with just posting them as the landowner, and going at it from that direction.
I think the way that's written now, it allows that,
Mm-hmm.
the ordinance. So any town can adopt the ordinance for any property they want. That's how.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No, because we're only talking about the conservation owned properties.
Right,
so
but we're gonna post it based on the ordinance.
Well, actually, not based on the ordinance, because technically we don't have an ordinance.
We're gonna post it based on the RSA.
On our private ownership of the property.
Correct.
The posting RSA, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
That's okay. So, and that's what I'm saying. The town could do the same. Is what I'm assuming.
They could,
Right.
but I'm not sure that that's going to happen until we get some of this stuff
Right.
resolved.
So I want to ask one question about the ordinance. I was reading it and
Yeah.
trying to figure out a way around it.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's wants to go out there and shoot is going to try to do that.
Right.
The definition in the back speaks to things that are inanimate.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we have someone out there saying they want to hunt trees? I'm just saying,
Yeah.
they're gonna try to screw and get through get around it every way they can.
Okay.
So, you consider a tree inanimate.
Does New Hampshire have a season for trees?
No.
Okay.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, we're saying they can't target shoot. Well, I wasn't. I was hunting a tree. So I'm just saying.
But trees are property.
They are.
Trees are property. I think there's a pretty, I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I think legally, we wouldn't have any difficulty
have a value.
defending the
Yep.
the fact that it's our
We
property.
specify inanimate objects. I'm just like, oh boy, where do we?
Yeah.
Because if I'm trying to be a jerk.
But
What would a jerk do?
But I think with hunting, though, I mean, aren't the hunters limited by what the season is? Because you can't just go out and shoot a deer anytime you want. You have to shoot it.
I can't
Yes,
answer the
yes.
hunting. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming yes, but I wouldn't.
Yeah,
answer
because
the
like you
hunting
can't go
laws.
out and shoot a turtle, a snapping turtle, just because you feel like shooting a snapping turtle. I mean, there's no hunting season on turtles, so you can't shoot a turtle. So for hunting, I mean, I would imagine that they're pretty much stuck with what we say they can hunt. So.
I think removing the inanimate objects, I don't think it
I'm not
takes
saying
away
remove
from
it, I
the
just-
message at all.
Yeah.
If we just removed it, just say no target shooting. Because target shooting is very different than
Yeah.
hunting.
I don't know.
I don't think removing it changes the intent.
Yeah, intent and clarity are two different things. If we're going to have a real ordinance, that someone
Yeah.
could be fine.
So what if someone was discharging their weapons and not shooting at a target?
Well, that's inanimate objects. That's
Yeah.
why we put that in
Okay,
there. So like a
right.
target, you can't shoot at a target. Well, okay, now have we limited? Well, I wasn't shooting at something inanimate. That's a tree. It's living. I was hunting it. Or I don't know.
Mhm.
Again, I'm just trying to be a jerk because that's what someone who's going to try to get around the law is going to do is be
Mhm.
difficult. I'm kind of good at
Yeah.
that. So.
I think our biggest problem right now is the target shooting.
Oh,
And they are shooting at inanimate objects. And honestly, I think if we find a way to curtail that and we have language that supports that, I don't think somebody just going out there and discharging their gun at nothing is going to be that much of an issue. They are shooting
Right.
at the stuff out there that's
repetitive
staying out
rounds,
there, and destroying our trees
Yep.
is another big issue. That's unacceptable. So I think if we curtail a lot of that the rest of the stuff will go away. That's just my opinion,
Yep.
because to me, that is the biggest issue. Understandably, we want to have language that we can enforce universally, but at the same time, I think we know the specific issues and the specific places that we're struggling with right now.
Mhm. Okay, so what I'd like to do, it proposes a few different motions. So, motion number one is I move that we not allow target shooting on any properties owned in fee by the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, that passes 700. Okay, so now we've covered all our properties, all right, that we own in fee. Next thing is I'd like to move that we purchase, we can discuss how many signs, 100 signs that comply with the RSA that states what you need to do in order to say no target shooting.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Fund 53. So the question is, so now that we're going to purchase signs, I would say that we've been using a certain sign company. Do we want to go to the same sign company? I don't see any reason why we can't. Do you think that we can that person will make up those signs? Do you know?
Yes, I think so. Material.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right.
gonna be interesting.
So the signs are going to be
Makes bulletproof.
right. So they're going to be so the signs are going to be
Kevlar signs.
damaged.
Yeah.
They're going to be damaged. They're going to be ripped. They're going to be twisted. They're going to be cracked. So in my mind, I don't think we should spend a lot of money on them because we're going to be replacing them.
Yeah, I think initially too, we're gonna have to spend a little bit more time putting them up, or
Yeah.
getting, schlepping a ladder around and trying to get them a little further away so they're not
Yeah.
so easily accessible.
They have to be in a sight line also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some
They need to be taller than someone standing on their roof of their car.
or the bed of their truck. But I must have left that page at home, the page with the RSA on what the sign has to look like. So, there it is. Yeah, no, I got it. So they can't be no more than 100 yards apart, letters 2 inches high, and they must state. Oh, so did I read it wrong? We don't have to put our name and address on them?
No, it's on there.
Okay.
It was in there.
Yeah.
I think all public posting, all signs, public posting supposed to have that.
Yeah.
Even the election
Oh,
signs,
there it is,
everything.
yeah. So the no target shooting has to be 2 inches high. The name and address doesn't have to be that large. Okay.
So it's a minimum of 2 inches.
Minimum of 2 inches. Yeah. Okay.
A good example of that is the signs the schools posted, the no motorized vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That sign that's up in Greater Woods, that's the large letter, and then the address is down the bottom
Yeah.
corner.
All right. So who wants to try and get these signs done? Yeah.
Is this a trick question?
Yeah, right.
It's just my way of saying I'm not doing it. Yeah.
I'll get a draft and send it around.
Mm-hmm.
And can we do that by email? Approval?
We've made a motion, yes, we're gonna do the signs, and
Yeah.
we're gonna make, I think,
We're gonna comply with the
we're
RSA.
gonna comply with the RSA, so it's not,
So you have to have the right color and the right black letters and 2 inches high and all that. And I would say if you comply with the RSA, you got it right.
Okay. Just send it around just for
For comment, yeah.
just what it's gonna look like.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
if you find anything wrong with it.
and we want a minimum of 100 signs stamped out as from sheets as possible, so if it ends up being 105 or something like that, we can continue and let him go on his
Yeah.
way.
Correct.
If anyone's concerned about right to know, all you have to do is attach that documentation to the minutes for the next meeting, and you're complying with right to know, so it's not a problem.
Right. Yeah.
Because any correspondence that goes to this entire commission is admissible under right to know. It's a public document,
Yep.
just so everybody's aware of that. But people are hesitant, since we've already made the motion and we voted here,
Yep.
if we were doing that via email, I'd be concerned about it, but we've already done that. So any comments about the signs, I don't think anybody should be worried about that. And like I said, we can just attach it to the minutes, and it's a public document, and we're all set.
Okay. So we do have some examples downstairs in our drawer because we have some no hunting signs for the parcels that don't allow hunting by deed. And I think they're compliant with this. So on Friday, I'll be down at Town Hall. I'll be downstairs, and I can pull one out if you want to see it, or I can send a picture or whatever. Yeah.
I think I have a dozen or so in my shed.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So great. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, so after we get them, then we'll figure out how to get them up. So,
Give me a call.
Senior the tallest.
all right, so in the meantime, I guess I gotta try and put a conversation together with all the right parties, because I want to do that shortly, while it's still fresh in everyone's
Let
minds.
me know what I can do to
Yeah.
help.
Okay.
And while we're on this, is now a good time to get the DPW cleanup day going? Because I have a subcommittee meeting next Tuesday.
Yeah, so what we need is a truck, right?
Hmm.
Did you ever have an opportunity to talk to Lori or anyone? No?
I mean, that would go hand in hand with the signs, having that place cleaned up, saying,
Yeah.
you know, hey, you know, something's going on here. We don't want you shooting here anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind having that conversation with Lori, or
No.
would you like me to do
No,
that?
no.
Okay.
Just get to her when she's there on there.
All right. Yeah. Whoops. Weather's getting nice. It'd be good to get in there and get it done. So,
Yeah, with a like a low bed truck, you could really back it into where it all is.
But we're gonna need something like a 6-wheeler though, not just a 4x4. Right? I mean, I'm not talking about a small pickup. You think just a flatbed pickup would be of adequate size?
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like a steak body, something like that. I'm thinking probably a 6-wheeler. You're gonna need something that's got a little bit bigger capacity.
Then it becomes
Potentially, yeah. We can see we'll see what they have.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll know what trucks can do what better than we.
Yeah.
So
can even offer to bring Lori out there or whoever on her department and just show her.
Yeah.
This is what we're up against. So, all right. I do have one more item on this. Cameras. Do we want to invest in cameras that we could use for wildlife monitoring and other things, and also for dealing with this issue up front?
I would say so.
It's getting sticky, though.
yeah.
it's a no fee property, and that's the hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a no fee property. As long as it doesn't have a voice recording,
Yeah.
it's not wiretapping.
Right.
It's just picture. So just have to be careful which model you purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it has no recording capability, no audio recording capability.
Right.
You mean if someone doesn't have to pay to get onto the property? Is that what you mean by no fee?
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
So if you have to pay, you can record audio
No.
If you have to pay, you cannot record
at all?
audio, video, still picture,
Right, you need permission.
or we would need to, at all entrances,
Oh, state that you're
Post
under
that-
surveillance or something.
video surveillance in progress.
Okay.
But if it's no fee, if it's our property and we do not charge a fee, your image can be captured.
Is this something that would be like live streamed or?
No.
Okay.
No, because, I mean, long term, it'd be nice to set up some wildlife cameras, which is basically what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
to capture some of the migrations that we have going on, get an idea of the different kinds of critters we have on all our properties. I'm not just thinking about where we are here.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I mean, I subscribe to Facebook pages that are like bird cams, so you can see like owls or hawks or whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking, would it be something like that or, but no.
I wasn't thinking that. I
Okay.
was trying to keep the costs down, and I
Okay.
wanted to get an idea of how it would work out, because as soon as you introduce a camera, you introduce maintenance. Someone's going to be dealing with it. Someone's going to take care of it.
Well, I would also imagine that they're going to try to shoot it down, so.
If it gets spotted.
Yeah.
Yeah. For this use, yes, they're going to try and shoot it down. Hopefully, for some of the other uses, people won't do it, but it's possible.
The good thing is you'd be in front of it shooting at it.
True. But the other
So
problem there is it's harder to identify someone, especially if they're wearing something over their face, than it is to identify, like, license plates.
If it gets that bad,
Yeah.
I think we're going to be calling in other people, I think.
Okay.
So is this a step we want to take now, or something you want to think about, and we can talk about it at another
I
meeting?
think we should do it all together. I think we should do it now.
Yeah.
You can get a couple of these cameras. They're not that expensive,
No,
right?
not at all.
So
Yeah, because
And we've had them up before. It's
Yeah.
not like this is new.
yeah.
no,
No, I think we should
used
do
them.
it all. We should do it all now because we have huge problems right now.
Yeah.
So how many cameras do we need? And I'll make a motion not to exceed. Give me a dollar amount.
Well, I think we should try 2. We're also going to need supplies. We're going to need to buy the SD cards, and we're going to need to buy the batteries.
Okay. I make a
So-
motion that we purchase 2 cameras along with supplies, not to exceed
$300
$300.
Per camera
altogether.
or altogether?
Is that good enough?
You think
What
so,
do you
really?
think?
Or do you want to go a little higher than?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
I'd say
say
5.
5.
Not to exceed $500 for both cameras together.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those from Fund 53?
From Fund 53.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right.
At least we get a lot of good wildlife pictures.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really the long-term intent here. I think once the problem goes away, which it will, we'll have some really great resources, good stuff to put up on our website.
Trail use, we can figure out who, what,
Right.
when
Right.
is using our trails,
Yeah.
and lots of animals.
Yeah, I think this will work out really well. Be nice to get a good idea of some of the bird life that's going on our property, because we don't have that kind of information. So, because certain kind of birds imply other kinds of critters are on the property because of what they eat and stuff like that. So, all right. Okay, so I don't have anything else, but I was thinking cameras might be a good addition to this whole part of the thing. So, okay.
Thanks for all the back and forth that you've done on this, too.
Yeah.
So I think we're making slower progress than we'd hoped, but we're making progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thorough
Yeah.
progress.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so next is the Ned pipeline. And with that, we have language for a survey denial letter. Trying to find my copy. Yeah, I got it here in the packet. So. So Gina, do you want to talk about your letter?
Yes, this letter is very similar to a letter that I sent on my own, since I am an abutter. And basically, all you really need to do is tell them what your lot is and that you are denying them access to survey. So what we have here, it's very short. I can read it for people at home. This would be going to the Kinder Morgan office in Agawam, Mass. I will also send it to the Kinder Morgan office in Enfield, Connecticut. I won't bother to send it to the Kinder Morgan office in Amherst because I sent my letter in November and I'm still waiting for the certified return receipt from Amherst. And it would also go to the FERC office down in Washington, D.C. This is pursuant to docket CP 16-21-000, formerly docket number PF 14-22-000. Pursuant to the, do we need this? Yes, we're going to attach the The minutes, so pursuant to the attached minutes for the Merrimack Conservation Commission meeting of Monday, December 21st, 2015, in which the following persons were in attendance. And at that meeting, there was Tim Tenhave, Matt Karen, Michael Boisvert, thank you, Cynthia Glenn, Gage Perry, and Councilor Jody Valancourt. And also in attendance representing Northeast Energy Direct Pipeline were Adele Fiorillo of Environmental Permit Lead of Normandow, Barry Duff, Principal Project Manager at Kinder Morgan, and Mike Lennon, Right-of-Way Coordinator of Northeast Land. Is the owner of the property known as a tract of land identified as Parcel 2B 358-1, situated on Natticook Road in Merrimack, Hillsborough County, New Hampshire, and further described on the attached quitclaim deed, which will be attached. This letter confirms that on December 21st, 2015, the Merrimack Conservation Commission unanimously voted 6-0-0 to deny permission to the Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company, LLC, a Kinder Morgan company, its representatives, contractors, subcontractors, or associates to enter Parcel 2B 358-1 located on on Natticook Road in Merrimack, Hillsborough County, New Hampshire, to perform surveys or for any other purpose. Any physical entry onto this property will be considered unauthorized and treated as trespass. And I have you as signing it. My question is, on the quitclaim deed, this property is located on Natticook Road. However, now that Continental Boulevard is completed, it's actually on Continental Boulevard.
Right.
Do we want to change that? When the quitclaim deed was done, Continental didn't exist there.
Can you say Natticook Road / Continental Boulevard? Or?
Yeah, well, actually, the deed was put together much more recently.
Was it?
So
leave it as Natticook? I mean, it is still on Natticook. It's on that little triangle, isn't it?
it's across the street from it, but it could technically be Natticook Road.
Okay.
At least a portion of it will be. It's
Well, I could also say at the junction of Natticook and Continental.
Well, we have a parcel ID.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Right.
parcel ID is specific to what it is. I mean, if
So just take the road out? Or say in the Natticook Road area?
we're attaching a quick claim deed and it says Natticook Road.
It does.
So by stating it again, we've stated it. It's on that road. But I think because it's got a parcel ID, I mean, it identifies
That's
the parcel.
the legal
That's
identification.
a legal identification of that parcel.
Okay. So then the letter is good as stands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only other thing, I think we probably should include a copy to our lawyer. Right?
Yes.
CC her on the bottom. Yep.
And that's Carolyn. Should I be CCing the town attorney? Julian? No. Okay.
So when this was all coming together, it was asked to be put together by John Prue. He was in the audience.
He was in the audience, and also Lucas Meyer, who, as I understand, is no longer with Kinder Morgan, was also in the audience. Would you like me to put that on here, too?
Really?
Yes. I do not have details.
Did not.
So is John not with them either?
No, John is still with them, as
That's what I
far as I
thought.
know.
Yeah.
We could ask Dan Dwyer.
Yes, we could. I think since he's the one who initiated it, I think he should get a copy of it.
Oh, John Prue should
John
get a copy?
Prue, yeah.
All right, should I note on here that John Prue was in attendance?
No,
Okay.
because he didn't sign anything, so. But he should get CC'd.
So only the folks that signed in are on here.
Correct.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
Yes. Okay, so I will redo this and then I will get you a copy. Do you want me just to send it to you electronically and you can print it out and sign, or? how would
Either
you
way,
like to do that? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I mean,
I'll do that.
I have some time on Friday as well to
Okay,
sign a
I
letter.
can swing by on Friday.
So yeah, just get a hold of me before then and let me know what works.
Okay.
The next time the town council meets, I will just make sure they are aware that we issued this letter, that's all. I mean, I've already advised them after the meeting that we denied access, but I'll make them aware of this letter. I'll also make them aware of the attorney that we retained, too.
Yeah. Okay.
So we just haven't met. Our next meeting is the deliberative session on Thursday,
Yeah.
and then we won't meet again until you'll all be there on the 24th. That's our next regular meeting.
Are you allowed to talk about this kind of things at deliberative session? Just as a notice?
You could speak about it as it pertains to, at deliberative session, you're discussing the warrant
warrant
articles.
articles, I know,
And
but-
the operating budget contains money in here,
Yeah.
but there's really nothing else.
My only the only reason I ask is because there's so many people who still don't have any idea this is coming. You talk about it, the pipeline, like, what are you talking about? No idea.
If they don't know about it, it is not for our lack of trying. Some people just
no.
don't want to know about it.
Right, but that's the thing. I didn't know if it deliberative, if there's no business meeting there, is there? It's only the warrant articles, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Unfortunately, some people, I've learned unless it directly affects you, people don't care. My other question is, my plan since we talked to the attorney Carolyn Elephant, is that how you pronounce it? She said that it does not have to go out to the mass intervener mailing list, so my plan was to electronically file it with FERC, send a certified copy to the Agawam and the Enfield Kinder Morgan offices, and also another certified to just to reiterate the digital filing of it. So we'll send a certified copy to FERC too. That's what I did with mine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I'll take care of all the mailing and everything.
Yeah, because it's not like we're making comments against the thing. This is
No.
just a landowner making.
And we made the decision before we filed as an intervener, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So we,
I still think she was pretty clear about what we needed to do to
Right.
be compliant with that, so I think that would be sufficient.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as it's electronically filed.
Yeah. Now, my only other question is when I electronically file it, I mean, I'm registered to electronically file, so I would imagine I would electronically file it. I mean, if I electronically file
Yeah.
it, it will go under Gina Rosati.
Yeah, I should probably file it because I've been doing all that for the commission.
All right. So if you take care of the electronically filing it from you, then I'll take care of all of the certified mailings.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just I'll scan it. So send it to me electronically, I'll sign it, I'll scan the whole thing,
Okay.
and that way I can file it as a scanned copy.
All right. I'll do that. I'll change the date to tomorrow then? Or do you want to leave the date today?
Date today's
Doesn't
fine.
matter. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else on this item? We're all,
You-
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can bring the costs you incurred for certified mail or whatever to the commission, and you get reimbursed, correct?
Fund 53?
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm having memory issues here. Did we formally vote to send this letter?
No, we haven't yet.
Okay, so we still need to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, we can either vote or we can do it by consensus. I think the consensus is we all want to send the letter, and that will reimburse Gina for all associated expenses once they're all known.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
Everyone agrees? Everyone nods their head?
The only expenses would be 3 certified letters, and I think they run about $7 each.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yep, just have a receipt or something that we can submit.
Okay.
Okay?
And I will follow up on the tracking of them too. I'll have the tracking come to me at my home.
Okay. Yeah, because at some point we'll want to get all those copies or whatever and have them in our record just in case we need it. So,
Yes, I
okay.
will give those to you. Hopefully we'll have them. My experience is FERC will have it back within a week.
Yeah.
And the other 2, Tennessee Gas Pipeline, takes 3 to 4 weeks to get it back.
Mhm.
And Amherst never.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe the office is closed now that they're done with their purpose for that office.
Oh.
As far as I know, it's still open.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of security cameras around.
Oh.
Not that you know.
Yeah, I know.
I have an inside source.
Yeah.
I know which ones. We might order the same one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, ask if there's audio.
All right. So we had a meeting last week. We hired an attorney, and then afterwards we received some advice from our attorney. Is there anything that you think we need to be doing based on that advice? Any decisions we need to make at this point? So we did talk about, and I haven't done this because I've just been overwhelmed with everything else, sending all our correspondence to FERC to our attorney, which I'll get to because I have all the originals, so it's easy.
You have some time.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And then we'll let us know which ones that we need to restate or move forward with, or resubmit. She did speak about maybe we wanted to comment on the public need and maybe request a hearing for a public need. Are we beyond that point now? No, we shouldn't be, because all they've done is accepted the application. They haven't. So, is anyone interested in pursuing that, thinking about it, figuring out what a comment from us would be in regards to the public need? Something that's concise and complete?
What would that entail exactly? I mean, would that be we just say to FERC we want a public need meeting?
Well, that should be part of the letter, but maybe we want to contend that there isn't a public need and state some points why we think.
Oh, I could do that.
Okay.
And why, and therefore, also state that we don't believe that the public need has been addressed in a public circumstance.
Well,
right?
Interestingly enough, one of the people that's I'm just going to call him a pipeline warrior because that's what I refer to all of us that oppose it. She called FERC and talked to someone, and according to FERC, export is a valid need, and the U.S. needs to support our allies because Putin flips the switch whenever he wants to, according to FERC. And I get the feeling that it's one of those, we're being anti-American if we oppose this pipeline because we need to, I don't know. I'm not really sure what their
Make
reasoning
people
is.
richer.
We need to fuel the world.
Well, to me, that's it. Well, that's it. I mean, they feel that with Japan shutting down the nuclear reactors, they're depending on. I don't even know if they're actually depending on Russia for their gas, but according to FERC, it is our responsibility now to provide energy sources to our allies.
That's
But
a
is-
political viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's not.
Well, that was what FERC told to this
yeah, but that's
person
what I'm
that
saying.
called.
That's a political viewpoint.
And
That's
is Kinder Morgan publicly admitted yet that this gas is going for export? I thought they were still denying that.
When I went to, there was a energy meeting at Franklin Pierce a while back, and there were 3 people there. There was Curtis Cole from Kinder Morgan, there was Dave Solomon from the Union Telegraph, and then there was, I'm not going to be able to remember his name, but he was like a green energy guy from UNH. Curtis Morgan got up there and he said, Canada's been supplying us for gas for years. It's our turn to supply them for gas. We owe them. To myself.
Right, but have they made, because they've made lots of public statements
That's as public as I've
and
gotten
statements
from them.
to the press stating that it's not for export and that it's going to reduce our electric costs. That's what the public comments have been.
Well, I have the numbers at home. I mean, the DOE has approved 0.8 billion cubic feet a day of gas going from Dracut to up to, it would be Bearhead and Paraday are the 2 companies that would be turning it into liquid natural gas and exporting it. So it's 0.8 billion cubic feet. Now, Kinder Morgan is they're supposed to be transporting 1.2 billion cubic feet. But when you stop and think about how much Kinder Morgan has spoken for with customers, I think it's about 0.6. So what do they have left? About 0.8. But they're all tied in with Spectra.
The phone call, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't give it a whole lot of weight at this point in time because that's just a phone call between 2 people. That's contrary, really, to everything that we've heard and we've seen published and we've discussed up until this point. Not that people don't feel that way at the FERC, but I think when we start getting into issues about easements and eminent domain, they talk about public good, and that means public good, the United States of America, us people. And this pipeline is specific to the New England region too, and they talked about the benefits and the need to the New England region specifically, and Kinder Morgan is still publicly touting that as a benefit to the New England region. So honestly, I think that's what we should.
And that's what I would definitely point out
and
in the letter.
exporting, in my opinion, is not for the good of the New England region
No.
or the United States, because we're giving up rights to our own land, we're giving up clean drinking water,
Yeah,
we're
that-
giving up all kinds of things.
That's a linchpin to me. Is there's no way you're ever going to convince me that gas is more important than water, ever.
No. And
Ever.
and I think that the reason I'm bringing it up is to just show you, I mean, this is the spin that FERC is putting on it, so.
Well, they'll come up with an argument and a spin for every single thing you throw out there. They'll come up with something new, but I think we need to be consistent with that. And Carolyn spoke about how their comments about need are all falling apart, how their arguments for all of that is falling apart. So I think reiterating those points that you know so well,
Yes, I
like the
do.
back of your hand now, are the
Well,
things that we
what's-
should be doing.
And what's sad now is, I mean, one of Kinder Morgan's customers is Berkshire out in like the Springfield area, and Berkshire has put a moratorium, so their customers can't get any more. Like if somebody wants a gas dryer, wants to convert from electric dryer to gas dryer, they can't. They can't add anything new that's gas. So now what they are doing is they're having companies write in to FERC begging for this pipeline. Friendly's just sent one in,
Yeah.
begging for this pipeline. Polar Seltzer just wrote one. They've got the Massachusetts Food Association writing in. So you've got all of these companies saying, we need this pipeline, because they've been listening to the spin and they've believed it rather than actually doing their homework. They're just listening to the commercials that Kinder Morgan is spending. And it's not just Kinder Morgan, it's Spectra too.
Yep.
I mean, they both are. So yes, I can certainly put together a letter commenting on the lack of need, and I will bring it to the next meeting.
Well, the lack of
Yeah.
need and what we're potentially giving up
Mhm.
for that lack of need. I
Right,
mean,
so-
just in Merrimack alone,
Like our
forget the
drinking
other
water.
towns, forget the other states, just Merrimack alone, what we stand to lose.
Because it's a common. They're going through aquifers along the whole path. I mean, this is so it is. You know, the problems we're going to have are the same problems a lot of people are going to have.
Well, and part of the problem is, I mean, you've got a company that they don't understand. New Hampshire's kind of a unique place. I mean, they don't understand New Hampshire. They don't really understand the North that well. They haven't really been through here.
They don't care.
Their job is to operate in their own best interest. They don't care about any state or any. They don't need to know. Their job is to make their money. Period. That's their job. So I agree with you. They don't know in New Hampshire, but they don't care. They don't need to.
They don't
They're-
care.
I need to know how to put in pipe. Period.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean,
That's
there's
what they do.
yeah, there's a really heartbreaking video of the down in Susquehanna County, the Holleran Maple Farm was just all the maple trees were raised for the Constitution pipeline. I mean, it's heartbreaking to watch it because you see these guys cutting the trees. They had armed U.S. Marshals with AK-47s there to intimidate the protesters. Did they really need to do that? You know?
Yes, you can write the letter.
Need to give her a bigger spoon.
Go for it.
So one of the other items that Carolyn brought up was the charitable trust, and that we should educate FERC on what a charitable trust means, or maybe remind them of the letter from the Attorney General's office. So that's a comment that we might want to be considering putting together.
Do you want those two together, or you want those as two? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want. I don't want to give them enough credit that they could mentally separate the two and deal with them. Yeah.
Now, the letter for lack of need, is that being written as from us as an intervener, or is that,
Oh yeah.
pardon me?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So anyone want to try and craft something together about charitable trust, or think about it? What the impact of that is to us? It's okay.
Don't everyone raise your hands.
All right.
I don't know much about charitable trusts. I mean, did somebody raise their hand already? Okay. I mean, I don't know much about it. I can draft something and then everyone can take a look at it.
It's not urgent, so we could do one at a time and,
Okay.
and go that
Okay.
route.
I'm up for learning.
I need to get through April.
Tim, a question. When we discussed that at the December 21st meeting, was that information was in that packet, was it not? All the information about the charitable trust in the Attorney General's office? If you were to get a copy of the packet materials from our December 21st meeting, that would have the documentation in there regarding the charitable trust.
Okay, I
And that
have
would
that.
just that's something that you should at least, even if you don't write the letter, you should read and be aware of and understand.
Okay.
So that
I
would
have that.
help you.
Good
Actually,
idea.
I don't have it, but I wasn't at that meeting.
I could forward it
I
to
was
you.
I was
He was
at
at
the
the
meeting,
meeting,
but I
yeah.
didn't get a packet.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Well, you weren't a member of the commission.
Right.
There may
No.
have been one available on the table, but
But I didn't grab it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all have an electronic version somewhere. I just have so many emails.
Would
that
Amy
take
have it?
me-
oh yeah.
I'll get
Yes.
it from Amy.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I know I have the email version of it. So.
The action that the Attorney General could take against those that don't defend the charitable trust, that was pretty eye-opening
Yep.
for me. So you'll find it interesting.
Okay, anything else on Ned?
I just wanted to update you. I can't remember if we've met the town council since we've met so frequently, it feels like. But at our last town council meeting, we reiterated that we still do not have a signed survey agreement with Kinder Morgan, and the roadwork permit application that we talked about several weeks, if not months ago, that they filed that application and that was incomplete. We still do not have a complete roadwork application from them. They never filed anything else. So if you were to see any survey trucks, they don't have permission to be in the road or the right-of-ways either. They don't, because we don't have a completed roadwork application on file, just so that you know that.
And also, if anyone that's watching at home does see a survey truck, I don't recommend approaching these people on your own. I would just call the police because they have been known to stretch the truth and make accusations. So
Yeah, and the Merrimack Police Department is aware of the fact that they don't have permission, and if someone calls the police to report them surveying, the police should be able to, they know what they should do to handle and address it.
Okay. So not to go deep into this one, but we may want to be thinking about having Jeff take a look at our property. That's on the path.
Okay.
All right?
who's Jeff?
Jeff did our,
Okay.
he did our report on Horse Hill in Gilmore Hill,
Okay.
so that we,
What's his official title? He's an environmental
biologist?
biologist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember him coming to a meeting.
And what's the name of his business? Moose?
Yes, I do remember him. Okay.
Moosewood Ecological.
Moosewood. Moosewood Ecological, yeah.
So, yeah, I was going to pose the question to Jeff to see if he had time, and then bring it here if he did. So,
He got to schedule it because he's busy
right,
with this.
yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to get to him.
Well, from what I understand too, I mean, the map currently goes, if you're heading down Continental Boulevard towards Daniel Webster Highway, the map shows it going to the left-hand side, but somebody was talking on the forum, this is back maybe before Christmas, they were on the right-hand side looking at that old logging road and going down between the two houses on Tinker. So they're not sticking to their map. They're kind of all over the place. I've been looking, I haven't seen them down near my side.
Mm-hmm.
If I do, I'll call the police.
Town actually owns a piece of land out by that way too. Just a little parcel. So, off the road.
off of Tinker. Isn't that under the protection of the National Society for the Protection of Forests?
Well, that's the Southwood properties and the Pennachuck properties, but the town itself actually owns a little parcel of land out there off of Tinker Road, a little undeveloped parcel,
On the short side of Tinker or the longer side?
alongside.
Okay.
So,
Okay, yeah, where they want to go through now, they actually want to go through 2 private properties, and then I think Southwood owns that peat bog, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Nope.
thought Southwood owned
Yeah.
that.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay. South Greater Road closure. So I forwarded to all of you comments from Attorney Roman about how to go forward with doing all this. My intent was to have a discussion with the town council as to what it is we want to do, not the public hearings, but just go to the town council first, see if there is a desire to go to the public hearing phase to do this. I was actually going to request to do that on the 24th, since we're going to be there anyways. But before I did that, I wanted to get concurrence that all of you think that's a good idea, based on what you've had a chance to read up on. Yes, no? I see heads are good, okay, all right. And that's really all I had on this. I just wanted to make sure you were in concurrence before I actually submit an agenda item.
Do you have something prepared where you would just explain, what it is that we're trying to accomplish
I
and
would-
what our goals are for doing this?
Yes, I would prepare something. I don't have
Okay.
it prepared at this
Okay.
point. So I can, we will meet one more time before that meeting, so,
Okay.
yeah, all right. All right, yeah, I'll try to agenda that for our next meeting, the material that we'll go over. I know we've been hinting at it for a couple of years now, so. In fact, I brought it up at our annual meeting with them in January, so. Okay, update on the Merrimack Outdoors website. I had a chance to talk with Wendy some more. What I think we've kind of come to the conclusion is we probably want to collect some analytics information first before we decide on our next steps. In the meantime, she is looking into what a mobile version would be looking like and thinking about what that would be, but I think it'd be good for us to know what portions of our website are getting used. She's going to go back in time up to a year to see what the trends look like, and then generate a report for us so we can make decisions. And that's what this is in front of you, is a bid for her to do all that work and get us back that information in a report.
You're obviously in communication with her. There's one feature, function that I'd love to see fixed or changed.
Yeah.
Is when you are on the website and you are on the calendar,
Mm-hmm.
when you hover over a day that's got something on it, you can't. It comes up, but it only comes up in a little tiny window, and you can't see it.
Oh,
So, and if you select it, then it takes over, and you can't get back to the home page. So, if
Right,
there's
I
some way to
noticed
have it come up with a little bit of a bigger window, so you see the event, and not have to navigate away.
okay. So you put that in the motion?
Well, you're talking to you're just talking about things that that's just.
So is that something you want fixed right away, or
No.
something
Just
fixed?
it's been that way since day one. So, and I've talked to them before and have forgotten to.
Okay.
He wants
Bring
you
it
to
up,
write
so.
it down so he doesn't forget.
I've obviously failed. So.
Okay, gotcha. So, is everyone in agreement that we should gather some more data before we make decisions on what comes next? Right? So I move that we go forward with the proposal from Weatherby Creative and expend up to $550 on a report, utilizing funds from Fund 53.
Second.
Third.
Third.
All right, so it was moved by Tim, seconded by Matt. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
That passes 700. Right?
I don't think so. I think you're
Okay. All right, so that takes us, there's no new business, takes us to other business. Update on land donations. Well, we had a public hearing. The other land donation is in regards to Chestnut Hill. There was a meeting last week with DES. I think they've pretty much come to terms on the wetlands permit, but the exact language of the deed isn't resolved completely yet, and I need to follow up with Ken Clinton to see where that's at. So we're getting closer. Things are going much further along. Apparently there's been some adjustments in the personnel at DES. So I think that kind of slowed things down a little bit. So hopefully by our next meeting we'll be further. But they certainly intend to keep going forward with what we want to do. That's at least what Chestnut Hill wants us to do. So, all right. Parking lot. Should have got Kyle when he was here. Kyle told me that he has not been able to get the RFP information together, but he knows that we want it. It was his deadline was last Friday, and he missed it. So I just told him it'd be good to have it done for the beginning of March, so we can get it out there while all the projects are being planned.
He's doing a few different jobs
I
right
know.
now, too,
I know.
so he's wearing several different hats.
Yeah.
He's got
Busy.
the two big bridge projects going on.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
busy right now.
Yep.
Yep. So I didn't push him. So I just asked him if it was ready. I need to update the commission, and he said no, not ready yet. So I'll leave it at that. So. Cindy, were you able to put something together for Angela? So, as we brought up at our last meeting, Angela Martin resigned from the Horse Hill Nature Preserve Subcommittee and thought it might be nice to put a card together that we could sign and send her. Is everyone in agreement with doing something like that, a thank you card?
Sure.
Okay. I thought that's something we should be doing more of. Actually, hopefully we don't do much of it.
Yeah, right.
In some ways, because that means we lost another person if we have to do it again. So if you don't mind, Cindy, passing a card around and we can all sign it while we're here. Did you put something really nice and squishy and all that stuff in there?
No, I didn't.
Is it at least recycled paper?
Well, it was actually hard to find a card that didn't have like a whole big paragraph, you know. And so.
Okay.
Guys like Jim Gaffigan?
Hmm?
You like Jim Gaffigan? He does a whole skit about the greeting cards.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds like something I'd say.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. So if you want to send that around, have you signed it?
No.
All right. She's going to wait to do it last.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Matt. I gave you all the backup information, but I forgot to make it an actual agenda item when it comes to the Beaver Solutions invoice.
Well, we got a line item in there, water control activities, other business.
So, and we did discuss at our last meeting that it was going to be part of this meeting. So, if you are not opposed to taking this business up, I would like to. Yeah. So do you want to talk about your discussions with
Well,
Mike?
yeah, we spoke late in the winter, well, not late, or I guess early in the winter, regarding trying to continue work. At the time, it was a lot of the activity had stopped, but now we're seemingly in early spring. Actually, we've just been in contact back and forth, email right now. Most of the areas are free, water's flowing, and around the devices are flowing, so he can get in and start doing his spring check on these.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to try to schedule us in now. There's a fifth device that he put in late last year. So I'm not. We're looking at this invoice. This only specifies the 4. So I'm assuming, is the town going to be getting their own invoice?
I would assume so. I don't know.
And while he's here, I'm assuming that we're going to want him to go look at some of the other areas that we know we have issues with. We've got Horse Hill, we've got Hanson Road, we've got again we're having other problems now again back behind Madison. And then we're going to go look at the school property in front of the Reed's Ferry School to look at that culvert going under the road, and not we're obviously not going to be sponsoring a device in there, but we told Matt Chevronel that we would go take a look and get a price and have him look at it to come up with an idea.
Yeah, so what I was wondering is would you mind if I agended this in a more formal agenda spot, and next week you could walk us through the plan and what we should be working on, and just bringing everyone back up to speed?
Sure.
You know? Because remember, we had broken out the list as to what the project sites were and all that in a plan. Would you mind doing that?
No.
So that way, because I know that you weren't around for that part of the discussion, and Gina's new as well, so it'd be good that we all get on the same page. So, but in the meantime, we probably should take some action here so he can get to work.
Right.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, all I've been back and forth was like I know he's planning on coming out here, you know, on his schedule. He wanted to know if we had open water so he could go do the inspections and do the maintenance.
Yeah.
So I've gone and looked at 3 of them, and they're open and available. So I'm assuming the 4th is equally as open.
Yep.
So
Okay. Good, because it would be nice to get some more of the projects done. Let's keep this thing moving forward. We kind of skipped a beat last year and didn't get much done. So, well, we got one done anyway, so.
Should
right.
we,
So in the meantime, yes.
this one?
Yeah.
Need a motion?
Okay, do I make a
ahead.
motion that we approve the annual maintenance plan for another year for Beaver Solutions? Do I say the amount?
Yep.
Okay, in the amount of $900 from Fund 53.
Second?
Good. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 7-0-0. Okay. And then, so at our next meeting, Gage will take a few minutes and refresh our memory on the plan and what we should be doing. So,
part of that, Mike, if you get a chance, could you also look into the GIS, the town GIS thing, where we stand, if we're ever going to be able to populate that with data? Because we have all this data, and we were kind of hoping at some point in time being able to putting into a data layer somewhere. I know Kyle gave us, which is another thing we got to talk to him about. Kyle had some information on as to licenses, and I know Tim Thompson, I would think, was the one. He kind of owns or controls who's got licenses to put that in. So instead of me getting in, I know you were already talking to those guys, so I'm just gonna stay out of it.
Sure, I can look into it.
all right, so before we move on, anyone have anything else under other business? Yeah?
Under yep, I just wanted to make sure that the commission was aware. I don't believe we've had anything definite decided but the tree cutting issue at Wasserman. I just wanted to assure you that Tim and a little bit of me, we've been having discussions with the town regarding what it is that we should do and what needs to be done to take care of the damage that was done by the tree cutting. I don't think we've got anything definite that's
Yeah.
gone back and forth, but I just wanted to make sure you all knew that communication is continuing and Tim is following up on that. And I'm back up whenever he needs me.
Yep, ongoing. What I'm trying to do is let the town handle as much of it as possible, since the town has the no-cut buffer and they have the staff. So, and I'll answer questions and provide comments if they want my input, but I don't want to be in the middle of it. Not on the critical path, as I would say. So,
Especially since she knows what you look like, right? No.
yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
All right. Next is minutes.
Yes, I have something else.
Yep, go ahead.
So I've been staying in touch with Matt Kasparius from the Parks and Rec.
Nice. Yeah.
And he would like the subcommittees to go forward and plan a walk on their properties. So we could get that into the subcommittee agendas to plan a. 'Cause he doesn't have a budget until the summer, so he would like to do these walks before then, before the summer, because it's not costing him anything.
Is he giving any kind of target age range or experience level?
To be like family oriented.
Okay, so staying on
Much.
kind of main big trails, no.
Well,
Well,
run it by him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna-
I'm
you're
sure
gonna-
he's open to most anything.
I'm just thinking like Skyline. We're gonna lose people if we try to, someone who's
Yeah.
not ready to be out walking for a couple miles.
Yeah.
Up
And,
and down
he wants, be preferable if the walk had some kind of theme to it, some kind of educational theme. So if the subcommittees could come up with that.
Okay.
Okay. And and then we can let him know and come up with a date for those walks.
Okay.
And the second thing is, I'm going to be doing a beginning backpacking class for any hikers who are interested to carry things one step further and learn about backpacking. And I'll be doing that on May 21st at Wasserman at 10 a.m. in the function hall. And so if you want to learn about backpacking and you want to try it, come on out. And if you want to learn and hear about some of my trips, we can talk about that too.
So you're going to show some of your pictures? You should,
Yeah,
you should.
I might put something, yeah.
What'd you
Some
say?
awesome
May
photos.
21st.
May 21st, 10 a.m., Saturday, in Wasserman Function Hall. So Matt was happy that I volunteered to do that.
Cool. That's neat.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of backpacking experience. I've done some really neat trips, so I can't go over it today.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's all.
Great. Anything else under other business?
I guess, should we announce now that there's an open position, or?
Open position. Oh, yes. Right. So, yes. So essentially, we do have an open alternates position on Horse Hill.
Yeah.
And we'll take applications.
Thank
Yeah, anyone could just send me an email, or any of the other members an email. Cindy, the rep. So, yeah. Okay.
So I do have something on Greater Woods.
Yeah.
Since I'm realizing that the trail building and maintenance season's probably closer than our next meeting. The school board is funding a bridge out on Greater Woods that connects our property to the school's property. And we're likely going to be doing that the weekend after the next meeting, which is before our next Conservation Commission meeting.
The weekend after the next subcommittee meeting?
Yeah, so what would that be? The weekend of the
It's next Tuesday.
19th, 20th is likely when we'll work on that bridge. So essentially we're going to be connecting school property to commission property with a bridge, and then fixing the trail that leads to that area. It's a big marshy area now where the trail is. We're going to be pulling it out of that, and then the water crossing has become wider because of kids commuting to school over it and going through the water. It's just bellied out a little bit, so I think the bridge will help that kind of go back to natural state. But I just wanted to make the commission aware that the subcommittee will likely be installing that bridge before the next meeting.
All right.
And also the last,
You'll do an email blast. Let us know.
as far as letting,
Yeah, when you're going to meet and stuff like that.
yes, definitely. Yep, I'll CC the commission. Also, I plan on discussing or making an agenda item on the next, on the meeting, on the 15th, regarding updates to the stewardship plan, because now that we've grown Greater Woods, we're likely going to grow the stewardship plan. What mechanism should we be using to convey our changes to the commission so that the commission can update whoever needs to be updated?
So, what probably, I mean, if we want to have a complete plan, at some point we're going to need to get like a forestry survey done on the new parcels.
Yep.
Which is probably not something we would have you guys do, because that's professional activity. Then it's a matter of proposed trails or activities we want to do on those parcels. So we'd like to know, I think at our last meeting we talked about maybe mapping the current trails and then saying these are the trails we want to keep, these are the ones that we think we should get rid of, and these are the ones we think we should add or modify, or whatever, however you want to put it. And these are the classifications you want to recommend for those trails, whether they're an A, B, C, or D. I think that would be good. And we can move forward with that. So I think the only thing that really needs to be done is probably the trails portion update, because the forestry stuff will get done when we're ready to contract for that work. And honestly, I'd like to wait a little bit to see what comes out of Chestnut Hill. So if we're going to bring in a forester, let's get it all done. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, we could do the trails, and we can at least list the parcels
Yeah.
in the plan, so they're at least, and keep the history up to date.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, does that make sense? So it's mostly trails, but then there's some odds and ends scattered throughout so that it looks like a complete document.
Okay. Yeah, because I know.
You had said that a priority was to discontinue some of the trails that were going through wetlands too, so I would think that bringing the trails forward would be something that you'd want to do sooner than later.
Yeah, and as a large portion of this commission went out there and walked the parcels, and we saw trails that are currently being developed. So as far as mapping the trails that are out there, they're making more all the time. I mean, I don't know if that's a...
Yeah. I saw a caged four-wheeler. They have the cage all around it. Stuff just, the distance. I could hear the cracking of the small trees and brush. They're just making their own trails. This is out by the view, between Merrimack and Amherst.
Yeah, I have quite a few pictures of that guy that I was just showing Gage.
Yeah.
So how do we
That I
stop
took
that?
yesterday.
What do we do?
Tiger tree.
It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Those things, you can drop trees. Doesn't matter. Go right over them.
But so there must be. So what I guess what we have to concentrate on is what we can do, right? To start, we've got to start somewhere, and starting smaller. And from what you've described to us, Matt, and I've not been out there, so I don't know. But what you've described to us sounds to me like there are some fairly established trails too that shouldn't be there. So maybe we can at least start with those and try to figure out a way to close those off. That might be a first, especially with the season coming up. That might be a first goal. And then I imagine you guys have an idea of what kind of classification of trails. If you don't have a specific mapping of where you want the trails to go, but you'd have an idea of what would be appropriate use for that particular area, then we could start with that too. But it sounds to me like closing off those established trails might be something to set a goal for to work on first.
This is going to be a particularly long and hard effort, because this is area that people have been driving on for years.
Right.
I mean, this is by eminent domain. I've been driving here. My grandfather drove here. My father. This is my property now, and that's kind of the mentality we're going to be up against here.
Well, even if you start with
Yeah.
one
Yeah, I
trail,
was just saying,
just
so
start
it's-
with one trail to begin with.
It's
I mean,
gonna, it's
we've
gonna
got,
be a
we've
very
got to start
slow-
somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
very slow process.
So it's going to require a lot of signage, and signs that are going to get destroyed, things saying, okay, this property is owned by the Merrimack Conservation Commission, this trail is closed.
Yeah.
We'll just have to do that, and yes, we'll be losing them, but the more they get out there, the more people see that, they're going to go, oh, wow, something's changed. It's not the property I used to be able to use.
So what, now that we're, spring is, you know, they're out, I mean, I was out there yesterday and there were
Right.
7 ATVs that I saw. So now's the time that they're coming out of the woodwork.
Gas.
Is
prices.
now also the time to close these trails? Or is there more of a mechanism involved? Does the subcommittee have to review them, say we believe that these should be closed, come to the commission says yes, close those?
Well, didn't the last meeting, didn't we say, like, I mean, if they're going through wetlands or we're not, like, if you want to try to close those trails, didn't we say?
Well, right,
if I'm-
so,
Go right ahead.
so the trails where that's happening, it's our duty to stop that.
And it's not like they're trails that we've established anyway, so you're closing trails that the Conservation Commission and the subcommittee have established.
We don't endorse those trails.
Okay, so
Yeah, but for the plan, for putting the plan together, we need an updated trails map and categories for those trails. It could just be, these are the trails we want. And all the others are by default not trails we want to continue with, right?
yeah.
And this is the potential route. And of course, they have to be studied and marked if they don't exist. And these are the categories we want for those trails. Would be good. And then we can vote on that, okay? And assuming all others are not allowed or are not wanted, right? And we can move forward in that direction. Does that work easier?
Yeah, I think that's much better because I mean, we've all been out there. It would be a huge task to map everything that exists. So
Maybe we could have the target shooting and the ATV trails all on the same. That would solve both problems.
well, they actually are
I was kidding.
because an ATV trail goes right through the middle of the shooting pit.
Tracks going right up that little hill.
So this is just history repeating itself. We went through this with Horse Hill when it first got done. It was people's backyards. It took a few years, but it slowed down and stopped. The more walkers you get out there, the more people that actually start coming out will start discouraging the bad behavior. And I think on our established properties, the abuse has gone down considerably, right? So
Definitely.
now that we have new properties, we're going to see the same cycle.
Yeah. I also will say there was a Cub Scout pack out there with 60 people, and I met so many hikers out there yesterday that, yeah, I mean, everybody's out there, and it's very encouraging to see. And I filled up the map boxes. I went out there yesterday, empty. So I've got to fill them again. So it's
Can I say something that probably has nothing to do with anything, but just because I know so many people that have chronic Lyme, is this has been a really mild winter, so there's going to be a lot of ticks out there. So if you're out, use your bug spray because ticks are going to be brutal this year. Check your dogs.
They will be.
Yeah.
Chronic Lyme is,
Yeah,
I know a lot of
2
people
weeks.
with chronic Lyme, and it is horrific. You do not want chronic Lyme, so be aware.
So I've been noticing on the Merrimack Facebook page people talking about great places to go hiking. If any of you have a face, because I'm faceless, if you'd like, you might want to promote our website.
Okay.
Just say, hey, you enjoying the properties? Check out more information at merrimackoutdoors.org.
I will do that.
So that way they can see the rules. They can get trail maps online. That kind of deal.
Gina has a face.
I do have a face, and just a
I
quick
know.
question too, because
faceless.
sometimes my face has an extremely big mouth on Facebook. So I just wanted to ask, do I need to, I mean, when I'm posting on Facebook, do I need to somehow make Conservation Commission Gina versus Gina? Do I need to say things like, my views are my own on certain posts and I'm trying to have not as much of a
Right.
big mouth since I'm here.
If you're saying something controversial and you think that it might look negative to the commission, you might want to say, "I'm posting this as a private citizen."
Okay, I'm trying to, when I make my Kinder Morgan statements, I source things and I stick to the facts now and
Yeah.
keep my opinions to myself as much as possible. So, if you see something,
Well, the
you'll
most,
know.
oh, trust me, I will, Gina.
Thank you.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
The most, well, there's a lot of that goes on that, and there's town officials that go on there, and they speak about official business. If you're speaking about something specific to the Conservation Commission like that, I caution people not to do it, because I personally don't think it's appropriate, but a lot of people disagree with me. You're one of 7. You don't speak for the entire group. You shouldn't be speaking for the entire group.
Right.
This is where we have our one solid voice. But showing, here's our webpage,
Okay.
that's benign. That's
Okay.
any type of publicity that you could give to the group, or even saying we still have an opening, something like that, that would, to me, that's appropriate and that would be welcomed.
Okay.
But some of the other stuff, and a lot of, I haven't seen you put anything out there related to the Conservation Commission
No,
when
I
it
mean-
comes to the pipeline. And I think you've got a pretty good sense of what would be appropriate and what wouldn't, so.
I mean, I'm planning to stay clear of things like the ATV and the target shooting and stuff like that, because I don't want to get into. There are a lot of people that are on the Merrimack Forum that would chew me up and spit me out
Yeah.
for that, and I don't want to get into a debate with that. So,
No, and that conversation should be had here with the entire commission anyway. If somebody had something to say, they should be sitting here and talking to us,
And
so.
it's an easy. Someone corners you, but it's like, look, you can go watch the tape, or you can go get the minutes, and
Yeah.
you can go
Yeah.
see what we
Yeah.
discussed. And just kind of.
Or you can say, "Let Tim know, and he'll put you on the agenda. We can talk about it."
okay, that's a good idea.
Right? Because I don't have any problem
Right,
talking about
right.
it.
Okay,
And you've seen the posts that I've put on the pipeline page
Yes.
too. I don't ever
no,
claim to represent the town council or the Conservation
Right.
Commission, and I just say, here's an announcement, this is what we did, and I don't share my own opinion as speaking on behalf of the
Okay.
group. And it's always something that's already been discussed publicly. There's minutes, there's votes taken, so that's all. But again, a lot of it is subjective and a lot of it is a matter of personal opinion, but I think if you're respectful of the rest of the group that you work with, that you'll be fine.
excellent. Thank you.
So when are you done? I got one quick thing to follow up is I've been, walking on some of the trails because we didn't really post anything closed for mud season this year. The Gateway Trail is really wet, very wet, and it's got huge footprints in it, and from obviously some animals too. But there's a lot of foot traffic on there. There's a lot of bike traffic on there.
What's the Gateway Trail?
The main trail through Greater Woods?
Okay, thank you.
The one that starts in the high school and goes, or behind the middle school and goes all the way through. It's really, it's getting a beating right now, and there's a lot of people on it. I mean, we've had a couple nice days, and I walked up there, and it's really been nasty. I can't remember the name of the farm. It's at Amherst, like the Black Hill Farm or something like that in Bedford, Amherst area. Black Hill Farm.
Bragdon Hill, where they sled.
Bragdon?
No, there's a farm out. It's like at the end of the road out there. They drive a huge roller. They bought a roller years ago, and they drive this huge roller over the trails in the spring. We had that company that built that road. I wonder if there's something we could find out if they would be willing to. Find out how much it costs, obviously, but just drive that roller, and once the ground starts to dry up a little bit, just drive it right across that whole trail again. Because right now, if you go walk out there, it's a mess.
Wouldn't our DPW have something like that? I mean, we have dirt roads in Merrimack. Don't they have to do something like that to keep them?
Yeah, they just grade it.
Yeah,
We want to. I don't want to grade it.
Green's Pond Road.
Yeah, we don't want to grade it though. I want to compress it.
Oh, okay.
I want to get it. I want to put everything back where it belongs. So
could reach out to them.
yeah, that's how. I was gonna go through the forester to do it, or they have. I don't think I have their contact info directly. I don't know if I have their. I'm sure we have it probably in
Yeah, I'm sure we have it, because we paid them directly, so.
Oh, that's right, we did have a-
Hopkinton,
Yeah, Hopkinton Earthworks or something like that, wasn't it?
I have to look it up.
Okay.
Tim, can I bring up
Yep.
one other thing?
Yep.
Not necessarily related to this committee, but we talk about water a lot, and there was a big press release and news about
Right.
possible contamination.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted to make everyone aware that the Merrimack Village District posted a formal response, and it's on the Merrimack Village District's webpage. And I believe the town council, not the town council, the town's website is going to have a big, have the MVD's statement posted there as well. So if you go to the Merrimack Village District's web page, they give you some information, they explain a few things, and then they give you contact information if you have any concerns or questions. So since we deal with so many water issues, I thought that might be something that people would be interested in.
Mhm.
So that happened today.
Okay, good. Yeah, I hadn't seen that.
That's, didn't you send that out? Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the MBD, it was the patch article
Yeah.
that talked about it, right? So I didn't know that they had come back, so that's good. I'll be curious to see that.
Okay, now we ready for minutes?
That took a
Minutes
while.
of February 22nd, yeah. I scanned them, I did not read them closely.
I did not get a chance either.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The other thing that I just noticed that was up at
Two
the
things.
top, it says that we met in the Merrimack Memorial Conference Room, but we met in the Matthew Thornton Room. That was the meeting in the big room.
Move the minutes of February 22nd.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second?
And I'll let I found no, I read them, and I found nothing.
Okay.
So, Gina.
Yeah, the only thing that I found was that for Merrimack Memorial Conference Room, and that would be on line 6 on page 1. It should read Matthew Thornton Room.
Yeah. Is that it?
I found a few things on page 2. Line 22, which is where this all started and which lead him, that should be lead, right? LED, is that right?
Yeah.
And the same page 2, line 56. Chairman Tenhave asked for clarification, runoff is currently collected. Maybe that should be on how runoff is currently collected? Or
Or where runoff is currently something.
there's like a word missing there. Chairman Tenhave asked for
Yeah,
clarification, runoff.
how is probably the right word. Because I did ask him the question, it was a question.
Yeah, punctuation. That's all?
Set? Anyone else have any other corrections?
I have one.
Yep.
On page 3, line 37. I'm sorry, 38. I'm assuming it should be, if there were desire to move water off his property into that of the commission's. I think there should be an S, a plural, I mean, a
Apostrophe.
possessive S on the end of that, right?
Okay.
That's the only one I found, because Gina got the other one.
Anything else?
Well, I just happened to notice on page 3, row 4, he stated, I think that it should be the garage
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
currently.
Okay. Anything else? All those in favor as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions?
Oh, I can't vote. I wasn't here.
Okay.
I abstain, sorry. I voted.
So Gage abstains. So that passes 6-0-1 with Gage abstaining. All right.
Kevin, I could fight about it for half.
Yeah, that's right.
Gage, I'll
Did you
copy
read
you
about
on
that?
those GIS. I'll copy you on
Yeah,
that.
I just, that was obviously just a long-term plan, was to put that data layer in there, so.
Okay. No one here from the public? No public comments? Commissioner comments? Cindy?
I was just going to say that around the area in Horse Hill, where we're having the beaver water encroachment a little bit, I don't know if everybody's familiar where the trail kind of loops around. So we're discussing just kind of moving the trail a little bit so that it goes straight up instead of the loop there, so that, you know, it'll be on dry land, I guess I could say.
Yeah, as long as we don't create an erosion problem, I don't see an issue with that.
Okay.
Have you reviewed it,
Mm-hmm.
and you like it?
Very good.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, good.
And just,
Does it work for the rest of you? The expert says it's good, it's good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Matt?
Just that the Greater Woods Subcommittee is having a meeting on March 15th, and if you'd like to attend, it will likely be in this room at 6:30.
Gage?
I'm good.
Gina? Jody? Mike?
No.
The Wildcat Falls Subcommittee should be meeting at the end of the month, probably the very last week of the month. They haven't met since late last year, so, because they need to meet quarterly, and there's been some members in and out and traveling, so there is an opening on the subcommittee if anyone wants to join, so.
So you don't know if they'll be participating in the Parks and Rec?
I'll bring it up since I'm the rep, so,
And if somebody did want to join a subcommittee, then they applied to you?
yep.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all I have.
Make motion to adjourn.
Oh.
So moved by Matt, seconded by Cindy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, that passes 7-0-0 at 8:43 p.m. So that's all I have for other business. Anyone have anything else they want to bring up? Okay, so that takes us to the minutes of August 17th. Everyone get a chance, or most of you get a chance to review the minutes? So I'll move the minutes with corrections.
Second.
Seconded by Matt. Honestly, I didn't read them as diligently as I normally do. But I also didn't feel the need as I got through it because she's done such a great job.
Mm.
So the only correction that I've noted is on page 2. And on line 23, the word
Yeah,
Black Brook.
Brooke.
I actually researched it just to see if Brook was spelled with an E. And no, I found no reference to Black Brook in Goffstown with an E. So I think the E has to come off of Brook. In another place, it's Brook without an E as well. So,
Oh, okay.
that's all that I have. And